Feeling sluggish and unproductive? Need a boost to get through the day? Well, take some Get Go Brain Juice, bitch. Get Go Brain Juice, bitch, will give you the energy you need to power through the day. But be warned, bitch, there may be side effects. That's right. Get Go Brain Juice, bitch, may cause uncontrollable rage. But don't worry, that's just a sign that it's working, bitch.
Side effects may include tachycardia, insomnia, anxiety and depression, confusion, seizures, hallucinations or paranoia and psychosis, weight loss, malnutrition, dehydration, cognitive impairment, and permanent irreconcilable brain damage. Dark urine when standing up or lying down.
Take Get Go Brain Juice, bitch, today, and unleash your inner maniac.
It is important to use, always prescribed by a doctor, and to be aware of the potential risks and side effects when standing up or lying down.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Engage. This tape will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Go! Just one more thing.
I want to go to there.
Bitch!
The language. Unbelievable.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Enough is enough. Lord can't control what he can't access.
I thought you unplugged him.
I did. This is her. She's locking us out from the bridge.
Now, take their ears.
Ensign rings the bridge. Do you copy? Damn it, comms are dead.
Take the very road ahead of them. With nowhere left to run.
Can you access the ship's security comms from here?
I'm trying, but the bridge is locking us out. Transport security, everything. There it is.
Hello, and welcome to the Best Bits TV talk show, where we talk about a show on TV. This is Kevin, and as always, I'm joined by Will. Hello, Will.
Hello, Kevin. How are you?
What can I say without sounding like a broken record? I adored this episode, and consequently, I feel great.
I feel lovely. I feel lovely, like Miss Lovely.
And you look lovely.
Oh, thanks very much. I try. That's why I put on the wig and the fake eyelashes. Do it just for you. And this episode,
and the tassels. I like those tassels.
Well, but if I can go 60 RPMs with these babies, you know, I could charge a small dynamo. Or I am like a small dynamo. This is a great episode. Tell me about this episode, Kevin. Who directed it? What's it called? Who directed it? Who wrote it?
This episode, let me just confirm what my notes here, is called Surrender. And it was directed by Deborah Kampmeyer, who also directed last week's episode. This one was written by Matthew Okumura. I think I have that pronunciation right. And the synopsis for it is quite brief, quite short. And it goes, Vadic forces Picard to make an impossible choice. Deliver what he can never give, or watch his crew perish. There you go. It's not his crew, though. I have a question about that in this episode. But that's the synopsis. Broadly speaking, you know I loved it. I think it's going to be hard for them to miss at this stage for me. What did you think of it?
When I said I feel lovely, the episode made...
It feels like a film?
Yes, it is. I genuinely think this show is lovely. And this episode made me feel lovely. It's such a strange feeling, but I'm like, it's not nostalgia. It's not nostalgia.
No. I think you'd need to be a miserable prick to dislike the show at this stage, because it's not the TNG series. It feels like a hybrid of that and the movies, but it's just like a love letter in the best possible way to the TNG cast.
Hey, not to put you on a tangent too much, but you know what I started listening to this week? Someone recommended
The Best Bits
book. I've heard it's a good podcast.
The main show. Actually, for those who are just listening to this on the separate feed, we do a side podcast well, it used to be the main podcast called The Best Bits.
Oh, yeah.
So come on over and listen to that.
There's 50
it's
episodes.
Great.
50 episodes were already in waiting for you there, painstakingly crafted for your auditory pleasure. You know what I've been...
And listen to plot twists, you cowards.
Oh, yeah. That was good. Who edited that one? I can't remember.
Jesus.
Did you ever hear of the book, The 50-Year Mission? Have you ever heard it?
No, but it isn't...
This is the...
Star Trek built around the 7-year mission.
Well, there's actually 2 books made, and oh my fucking... a super Star Trek fan recommended it to me, and I got the audiobook because I don't have the time to read an actual book. And they're 2 separate volumes. The first volume is basically like a diary, or no, interviews with all of the original players of the original series, and the second one is the interviews with all of the making of the TNG and the Silver Age, the TV show Silver Age. It's fucking incredible. It's like done in the Mad Max Fury Road. Remember the Blood and Chrome book, which was kind of all
right, yeah, that was a great book.
So it's the most comprehensive oral document of the making of Star Trek. It's fucking brilliant. It's fucking brilliant because the guy...
You've reminded... Go on.
The guy who wrote it, the 2 guys who wrote it. The first guy, the 2 of them co-wrote it, but one of the co-writers was actually on set. So on set of the original Star Trek. So he interviewed everyone from its genesis up. So Gene Roddenberry and everything like that. So it's so fucking comprehensive.
Oh, right. Okay. I have to get on that. I'm constantly like using up my Audible credits and stuff I don't listen to.
You love it. Book 1 is 26 hours and book 2 is 34 hours.
Okay.
Yep.
That's my weekend sorted.
Sorry, you were saying, you remind me of something. What did it remind you of?
I've been watching the Center Seat documentary on Amazon, which is an 11-part documentary narrated by Gates McFadden that was on the History Channel, I believe, and is now on Amazon Prime, about Star Trek, and it is glorious, Will.
Why?
It's really, genuinely superb.
What is it? Okay, I'm assuming, is it about the captains? Is it interviewing the captains, or what is it?
It's about Star Trek in general. It goes right back to the beginning of the show. It goes through the Next Generation, the movies, everything. It covers the whole lot. Voyager, DS9.
Shit.
It has interviews with a lot of the people who are no longer with us, Leonard Nimoy and Nichelle Nichols, and it gets into some nitty gritty stuff like about the reason why Kes left Voyager.
Oh wow!
The actress having issues and what the other crew the cast were thinking of her.
Yeah.
But it's great. I mainlined about 8 episodes there one night. I was just like burning through it, like watching it on my phone. And the Center Seat, I would highly recommend it. It's really good.
And what's
top
it on
quality
again?
Stuff. Amazon.
What's it on? Oh my god! You've made my viewing nights.
Do you know what?
So
as well though, it highlighted things that I got wrong on the Star Trek episodes that we did.
Really?
Yeah, it paints Gene Roddenberry as a bit of an interfering dickhead at times, where they go through the movies and how he would constantly rewrite them and he would try and steal credit, and the same thing happened on the TV show, and he was causing so many problems for the creatives on Star Trek, and it highlighted that he had a difficult reputation where he could be a force of good, but he could also be a bit of a dickhead, and his lawyer was pure evil.
Wow.
Really, really well produced.
What's good about the audiobook that I'm listening to is that there's very much a Rashomon effect, where you have different accounts of incidences, you know, from the parties, through interviews with the various parties who were involved, and it's warts and all, and people are narky in it. Like one of them calls Majel Barrett a bit up herself, and she's a bit up herself, and you know, it's like, oh Jesus, people are kind of going at people in this, and so when you get that candid kind of information or a view behind the curtain, they've
interviews with Nicholas Meyer as well. You know, on I think he wrote the 4th movie and he directed the 1st and the 6th, or the 2nd and the 6th, and sort of his contract negotiations and him saying talking to the executives and saying, we need 30 million. And they're like, well, we'll give you 20. And he's like, no, I'm sorry, guys, it's not a negotiation. I'm telling you that we need 30 million. And they were like, well, I thank you for that information. And he left the thing and they said, they've cancelled the movie. And he was like in complete shock. And then some of those executives got fired. New people came in. They called him up and they said, what do you need? Sherry Lansing, I think, was one of them. What do you need? And he goes, I need 10 million. And they're like, got it. And then Undiscovered Country was off to the races.
No, he needed 30 million. Nicholas, you need 30 million, not 10 million.
No, they were giving him 20 and he said, I need 30.
I know,
so there was
but I
10 million.
I could have.
Oh, right, yeah.
I could have told them
I need
from
70.
the beginning. Yeah, go in. If you need 30, you ask for 50, right? And then they'll give you 30. Or no, go in and ask for a fucking 100, and then they'll give you 30.
That's what I do in Tesco, but it's the self-checkout and I don't get anything back. I'll give you 50. I'll give you 50 for the week. That'll do.
The self-checkout is genuinely my own personal, that thing in the Superman, the little limbo zone where you feel where the Zod and his two minions were stuck. I just feel like I'm there, bloop, and there's unexpected thing, and I'm just
I never get through an actual. I never get through an actual purchase without having to call over one of the staff constantly.
I know, and like when I'm buying,
they keep telling me like, stop sitting on it.
You just conjured up a mini bit story, which I won't go into right now. We need to talk about this episode, Kevin.
And for those listening on the separate feed, the mini bits is what we do on Patreon.
Oh God, yeah. We basically have our own podcast network, Kevin. We have our own podcast network.
The ratings are spectacular.
Hey, will I kick us off, right?
Do.
So this episode begins with Vadic on the bridge of the Titan, smoking her cigar deliciously, and she's in charge. She has the crew captured, and
she begins squeezing.
Yes,
cuts off their ability to see, cuts off their ability to communicate or retaliate, and locks all the crew out from the bridge. And I was on the edge of my seat watching this. I thought it was fantastic, and I knew that she was going to execute some of the main bridge crew, and I knew that she was going to broadcast that, but I was still like tense throughout the whole thing. I thought this was so well directed. Again, just that opening shot of like coming in through the fisheye of the what
dome,
would you call it?
Kind of like
the dome,
observation dome over above the helm. Yeah,
and I guess it's foreshadowing that she's going to be sucked out into space at the end of it.
Spoiler. We're going to get there.
Get there. Brilliant though, really tense, and it felt like a movie to me. It felt like I was watching, I don't know, The Hunt for Red October or something.
It's just this whole thing has just been such a gift, such a fucking gift for us Star Trek TNG fans.
Love it.
I fucking love it. So yeah, at the end of this,
the best kind of fanfic.
It's brilliant. And at the end of this opening prologue before the credits, as you said, she has their eyes and their ears, and she's got the crew trapped. And credits
Her
roll.
henchmen are going through the corridors and they're executing the crew. And she's listening to the screams and the phase of fire. And it's like, this is bleak and intense.
What does she want? What is she after?
She's after Jack.
Yeah, that's all she wants. Give yourself up, Jack, and I will let the crew go. Let everyone go. That's all she wants, or so she says.
And Crusher and Picard are with Jack, and they are pleading with him to hold his nerve, to not do what she wants. She's not to be trusted. And yeah. We go to credits, we come back from that, and
we're on board the Shrike.
We're aboard the Shrike, and it's the reintroduction of Deanna Troi.
Wasn't it lovely? It is. She has her accents kind of sorted out from that kind of hologram that we saw in episode 1 or 2. Her accent seems to be back to its old ways, I think.
And you know what I immediately felt? I was like, I didn't realize how much I love Troi and how much her energy is necessary to have the full roundedness of the TNG vibe. That she just has this goofy maternal gentleness that I think is really important. And also Data brings it in this episode, and I think those elements are vital to giving the TNG crew their full roundedness, and they're sort of they're different from all the other crews. And I thought this conversation between the two of them, between herself and Riker, was wonderful. It was so interesting, the sort of the ideas they were debating about him needing to feel the grief of his son and her feeling the grief of everybody and wanting to take his grief away from him, to take his pain away, and him resenting that because it was the last thing that he had of his son, and her taking it away was taking away the last elements of his son from him. I thought it was fantastic.
It's really lovely. Yeah, it's really, really lovely stuff. And
I got choked
understand
up.
the motivation. Yeah, it is.
You can't
feels so
skip to the
sincere.
end. You can't skip to the end of healing.
It's lovely. A lovely sentiment. And that's what I'm saying. Lovely. This is the thing. Lovely came into my mind so much in this episode. I was surprised that word just kept popping in there. I was like, oh, that's lovely. And seeing them together, oh, it's lovely seeing them together. And even though their back is against the wall, and we learn in this episode that Riker did give the compromise code to the...
I didn't think they needed to include that line of exposition.
And it works on a couple of levels for me. It works because there's a little bit of humor that's extracted from it when Riker says something like, "Well, I just hope that Picard's out there and he's set a trap and he knows what I'm up to."
You get that
And,
nice sort of jumping off point back to the Titan.
Yeah, but we already know the trap is he set the trap and the trap's failed. So it's just like, oh, Riker, that unfortunately Picard kind of did what you wanted him to do, but it hasn't worked out for.
They balanced it really well, I thought. The only thing is, it's a shame they didn't create some sort of like second in command for Vadic on the Shrike, so that you felt like, the way in Nemesis you had Tom Hardy and then you had Ron Perlman as his number one. I think if the Vadic had a number one that she left on the Shrike, it would have felt more tense then, because they could have had a little bit of a space battle at the end.
Yeah, true. We also cut back to the Titan, where we see Shaw and Seven on the bridge, and you see that animosity between the two is still there, or animosity from Shaw's point of view about following Seven on this kind of adventure to begin with. So he still harbors resentment towards her for making that call for him.
Felt like he was telling her that she needs to be harder, and she says, "I draw the line at trading lives," and he's like, "All actions have consequences." So I like that. I thought that was them really seeing eye to eye for the first time, and she was like, "My name is 7 of 9." But we skipped over one thing that I wanted to mention because I thought it was quite funny, and I don't know whether it was a joke or not, but Troy says that she knew when the changeling came masquerading as Riker that it wasn't really him, and she was like, but he still had that same charisma, and he was like, "Well, how was he?" And she's like, "Good in bed, but bad at pizza." So did Troy sleep with the changeling?
That's what she's implying. Yeah, I think she's joking, but it's a fucking good joke. And the way he rolled with it as well. He rolled with it like, her humor.
They do feel like a married couple in that they've got a nice rapport.
Yeah.
What was that joke in The Simpsons where there was a guy pretending to be Homer? He was a German guy, and he came back to Marge.
You're not my husband.
Yeah, please forgive my unexplained 2-week absence. To make it up to you, we will go out to dinner at a sensibly priced restaurant, then have a night of efficient German sex.
Well, I sure don't feel like cooking.
I can't remember what episode that was, but it was a guy pretending to be Homer.
Well, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you not? Of course. Hey, Vadic now is doing her dastardly stuff in trying to lure Jack out, which is she tells them that she's going to execute a member of the crew one person every 10 minutes.
Meanwhile,
actually comes out.
Jack has demonstrated his warging abilities, which is that he's able to project his consciousness into other crew people like he did with Sydney in that last episode. And he goes to one of the upper decks and he has a look around through the eyes of this crew member, and we see that crew members have been impaled and murdered and there are people hiding until that guy gets killed. And
I like that.
I loved it. And I just love the tension
Impaling
between...
and murdering. Impaling and murdering just makes you feel lovely too. That scene just made me feel really lovely.
I thought this was like action-packed and exciting as hell. I did like that they were able to get back into the Christmassy vibe with the Troy and Riker stuff, where they would have jokes between each other, and then later on when Worf comes into it. But I thought they balanced it well between this being really tense and exciting, I don't know, it felt like Die Hard to me in a lot of ways. I was getting Die Hard vibes from it.
Yeah.
The way that they could switch between suspense and action and then comedy. But so Vadic then starts toying with the crew, and she pulls out 2 crew members from the lineup, and it's Lieutenant Mura and Ensign Esmar. And Ensign Esmar is the little one with the sort of the green makeup who is the most scared. She notices she's got a tear in her eye. And I love this scene where she was going back and forth, sizing them up and announcing over the comms to the whole crew, but speaking specifically to Jack and sort of trying to tease him out that she's going to start executing them. And what were you thinking of this? Because I thought Shaw was going to get it.
Yeah, I was thinking this is our moment to lose someone big, and I thought it was going to be. Definitely wasn't going to be Seven, but I thought it might be Shaw in this moment. But he's too good a character. They couldn't execute him right now. Did you skip over the bit where we have Jack using his puppeteering skills to puppeteer one of those officers on the deck?
No, I just said that.
Oh, right, okay. But like to input the codes.
Because I said he was walking down the corridors and he saw crew members being impaled. And
oh no, there's a second. That was the first time he puppeteered.
No, we're getting to that.
Time.
I'm getting to that because
okay. We're out of sync on that. Was right. Okay. Yes.
Vadic pulls out Lieutenant Mura and Ensign Esmar, and meanwhile Jack has said to Crusher and to Picard that I'm different. There's something different with me, and I did love the way that his parents were like rallying around him and saying, we're here for you, tell us what's on your mind, we've got your back, and also just not wanting him to give up his life because they knew that it was a trap. And he says,
she's going to blow everyone, she's going to blow the whole ship, so it's pointless giving yourself up. So, and go on.
Yeah, and so he wargs, to use Game of Thrones parlance, into Lieutenant Mura, and the plan is that if they can enter Picard's override codex into the computer, that will give them back command of the ship, or at least the bridge. And I questioned this because in the synopsis it said Picard's crew, and in this it's Picard's override. But why would Picard have an override codex to the Titan when he's a retired admiral? Did they just keep those things?
I read it as, oh, listen, all retired admirals have this sort of stuff. They have their secret key to any vessel if they need to use it.
That's handy.
Because that's what you have when you're an old guy. It's like the keys to the private toilets, the executive toilets, if you're a part of Apple or something like that.
When I left my job, they swept my key card off me immediately. I couldn't get back into the building.
Damn right too. I wouldn't fucking let you back in. The stuff you would do.
So, Lieutenant Mura, he gets overtaken by Jack. His eyes go red, and he leans over to one of the consoles and he starts entering in Picard's codex. And I thought, ooh, geez, this seems like quite an easy solution. Yeah. I was hoping it would work out, but of course, you never want things to go the way of your heroes. You want to make things more and more awkward and difficult. So he immediately gets caught. And Vadic is like, how do you know Picard's password, essentially? And she's like, oh, Jack, are you in there? You're starting to come into your own. You're realizing the powers that you possess. And then she says, okay, well, look, I'm tired of playing around here. She wants the crew members that she pulls out, Esmer and Mura, to identify themselves so that everybody on the ship can hear. And it reminded me of, like, in Die Hard, when John McClane is listening to, what's his head?
Alan Rickman.
No, Alan Rickman has got he's got. Hans Gruber's got.
Hey, booby. It's the guy who says booby.
Oh God, what's his name? I've seen Die Hard 50 times and I can't remember his name.
Lance.
No.
Shirley. It's not Shirley. Deborah. Holly McClane. Holly Valance. Holly Gennaro.
I am going to have to look it up because otherwise it's going to be on my bloody head. Die Hard Booby.
Jesus Christ! He's going to fucking kill
Hans
you.
Booby, I'm your white knight.
Yeah.
Ellis. So
I met Ellis before tonight.
It reminded me of that, and then I thought she's going to blow away Esmer, the little crying one. She gets Mura to tell people what your name is, and she's like, no, I want something personal. Who loves you?
Yeah.
And he goes, my son. You have a son.
rough.
And she's like, Picard has a son. I want you to, or tell Picard to send Jack here. And he's like, I can't. Why not? Because I'm Starfleet. I was like, oh yeah, cool.
Yeah. I thought it was just cruel, wonderful,
great
wonderful
villainy.
cruelty. Yeah, when she says, "Tell me about someone who loves you," I was like, "Fuck, that's really putting the guilt on Jack, Picard, and Beverly's shoulders." Like, no, there's a person going to be executed every time, every 10 minutes. She's going to do something where she twists
And the
a knife.
powerlessness of Geordi listening to it and Crusher and Picard listening to it, and they're looking at Jack, and this is like, please just don't do what she says. And thankfully she kills the Vulcan who don't feel anything.
Yeah, actually, yeah, she wasn't too bothered. I would have killed her too.
Lieutenant Tevin, yeah, she blows her away, and it was quite shocking, to be honest. It caught me off guard. There was a few things happening in this episode where I thought, you are really spinning me here, and I love it. But yeah, she
great stuff.
blows away the bald lady, Vulcan officer. Shame to lose her, because I thought if they do Star Trek Legacy, she'd be a good character to bring back. And then we cut back to Troy and Riker, and they're continuing their talk. And this is where I love the conversation between the two of them, where she was talking about she felt everyone's grief, and that you can't skip to the end of healing. And he's saying, I needed to feel that grief, Deanna. And then they get honest with each other. It's sort of by, I guess, talking about the pain. They realise that I don't like that house we're living in, and I don't like it either. And why didn't you tell me? And it was lovely to get them to that point where they're so reconciled, and they're being truthful with each other again.
And she's like saying, I miss the city. I just miss the fucking city. And they both just start talking about the stuff they hate about in the house, the steps that lead up to the front door, and it's...
I miss chocolate.
Just,
I want chocolate.
They're just so great. And of course, then who appears? Who fucking appears? Only the awkward other guy. Because we all have to remember that Worf is the other guy.
I loved it. Do you know what was funny, though? Was the way that it was cut together was... So one of Vadic's goons enters the cell, and he's obviously there to rough them up a bit more. And then suddenly Worf's cutlet, or it's not a bathlet, it's some other weapon he's got for this series. He has a new weapon each series. Pierces the chest of the guy. He falls down. Troy and Riker look down to the floor, and then Worf, the score swells. Worf blows the guy away just to be doubly sure. And I guess because he's a changeling, he'd probably turn into a puddle of snot, so it's best to shoot him as well. But it was the way that Riker and Troy then looked up and were like, Worf? I thought it was funny, and they immediately went into comedy mode, which I appreciated immensely.
And Deanna gives him a big hug, and he says, one's personal space is a right, or something like that. It's great. And I listen.
But then he goes,
he's a stuff.
Yeah, go on.
Go on.
He says, I have counted the days since I last saw you, like waves in the ocean, constant and unending. I have thought of your empathic gifts often since your evaluation, and the work that I have done, and the level of sensitivity that I have achieved has been in more ways than one. And Riker's like, is this a rescue mission or a continuation of torture?
It's brilliant stuff.
I loved it. Yeah.
Because, I don't know, everyone should notice that one of the most egregious missteps they made in the final season of The Next Generation is that they put Worf and Deanna Troi in a relationship. And it was so awkward and wrong. It was just like, no, this doesn't feel right.
It gave us one of the best moments of TNG when Troy is sitting on Worf's bed and Worf peeks over the doorway. He looks like completely confused. I think that was one of the alternate universe episodes. But yeah.
Jesus Christ. I don't know this meme. I'm going to have to look it up.
You know it. It's where Worf just slowly puts his head in. And he looks.
Okay.
And Troy is looking at him going, it's me, come to bed. And yeah, it's very funny.
Oh, it's great stuff. Worf continues to be the comic relief of this entire series, and also be a bit of a badass. It's like best of both worlds. Love him. It's great.
I howled at a moment coming up, but I'm sure you know what it is. It was really funny.
Same.
So Crusher, Picard, Jack and Sydney, they head off towards, I don't know where they are on the ship. I'm going to say it's engineering, but I don't think it is. And Geordi pulls a phaser on them. They pull a phaser on him. And Geordie's like, 6 years ago, I met you at your chateau. What happened? Picard, he goes, at Chateau Picard, you said the drink was too dry because your taste is pedestrian at best. And Geordie's like, yeah, that's Picard.
All this is fun.
It's great
just fun. Yeah, it's not shitty. It's just fun. It's quick. It's sharp. It's just
search for Spock kind of banter.
Yeah, it's good crack. It's good crack. I love it. It's good stuff. And we learned that Geordie, for Geordie to get Data back up and running, he's going to need some time. And they have to remove the partition that's separating Data from lore in Data's head. So that's what's going to have to be done. And we enter Data's mind, and we see now kind of something I really enjoyed. Data.
This got me choked up as well. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I loved all of this bit in Data's mind, and
because Data's so childlike that this redeemed him in a lot of ways, because he got very obnoxious in the movies towards the end. But him saying that his memories define who he is, and that he had everything, and Lore had nothing, and Lore is like the dark side of Data, and he tries to consume everything about him to wipe out his existence.
He's taking his memories. Data's collected these trinkets. He's kind of mocking him. He says, why are you holding onto those trinkets? He says, well, each of these trinkets represent a memory, something that defines who I am. And Lore's just taking them from him.
Yeah, he takes the Sherlock pipe from when he go on the holodeck. He takes his phaser. He takes a memorial of Tasha Yar. And what got me choked up, and Picard is like going, Data's surrendering. This feels like he's giving up. And he's like,
yeah.
He's like, Data, fight. And when I got choked up was when he yelled Spot.
Yeah.
And he
How
said,
could you not?
He goes, Spot is the best of me, the last of me. Oh, God. It's so stupid.
Kevin's gone. Steady, Kevin. Steady.
It's, I'm in this period of life where I'm just getting emotional about everything. But when he's handing over this cat and saying, it taught me to love, it's like, oh, it's...
Yeah.
Actually, I love Data. He's so sweet. And
come here. It reminded me of those moments in the TNG episodes when it was Data and Spot. And there was do you remember when Data got his emotion chip? Not when he got it officially, but when he got emotional about Spot. And he was like, Spot, like it was the one thing he loved, truly felt love for. And
after Tasha banged him.
Well, he didn't love Tasha, but he loved
that was just pure
Spot.
Animalistic sex.
Yeah, he was just had to get it out of his system. But like that connection to Spot, and my God, Spot has aged so well. I can't fucking believe it. He looks so great.
Yeah, he
looks
does.
great. But I genuinely got a little bit misty-eyed at that moment as well. You know, him passing over Spot, the last memory, the last thing he's holding on to. He passes over to Lore, and it's just like, oh God, don't give me.
I saw it coming. I saw what he was doing, which is that once Lore has consumed all of Data's memories, then he's no longer different to Data. He is Data. And they embrace, and he's like, we are me. Goodbye, brother.
Mm-hmm.
And Lore says goodbye, and sadly that's the last we'll ever see of Lore. But Data then is back. And
what a cool... I wrote this in my notes. What a cool way to close out the story of Lore. Because I don't feel in the series, I might be wrong, but I remember the Lore storyline kind of feeling like it was a thread that was just kind of left hanging. And this gave it a proper final closure for me anyway, as far as I can remember. And I just felt that's nice closure.
What I have found really commendable about this series, bringing it back, is that it's not just member berries, as we've said on other episodes, but it feels like it is tying off loose ends. And the people that have worked on the show are obviously massive fans of the original TNG and the other franchises, and they seem to be, wherever they possibly can, they are picking up strands and going, let's close off that loop. Let's put a bow on this. And that doesn't feel like it's pandering to you, but it's rewarding you for being a fan of this franchise. And for me, that's what's been so pleasurable about it, is that I feel like this time away has been well spent, and that it's so, as you said, lovely to get closure.
Mm-hmm. And the Data bit for me, it goes back to that pilot episode, the scene that they showed in the previous episode where Data meets Riker and the holodeck.
Yeah.
And he's whistling.
Always look on the bright side of life.
Doing hand farts.
Yeah.
But Data's mission, or his personal want from the pilot episode way back in 1986-87, was to be more human, to truly feel the human experience. And my God, this episode finally, after many attempts in the feature films at different times to give me his emotion chip and all that, it felt like it was almost pandering or just paying lip service to that or just using it, but not truly landing it.
Through in the end, because Data wanted to be a real boy, but in the end, he became a real old man.
That's what this episode does. And I think that's beautiful.
It is. It's
like,
lovely.
Finally, you're human, but you're at the end of your life. It's fucking so sweet. So sweet. He's there. It's really, really nice.
And also to be able to use contractions.
Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah. It's like, or he's a changeling. Or Data's a changeling because he's using contractions.
Not a changeling.
I know.
Can't be a changeling. But, yeah, so on the Shrike, they find Picard's body and they've taken the Iromodic stuff out of his brain.
Mm-hmm.
And Worf, Riker, Troy, and Raffi, they get onto a shuttle. They head back towards the Titan, cloaked or whatever. And Data taps into the computer system. He has a line that he says across the whole ship, which is, this is your friendly positronic pissed off security system back online. And that allows Riker and those guys to get on board the ship again. Raffi fulfills her arc of becoming a ninja badass thanks to Worf training. She sees off about 3 of Vadic's goons, while Jack... Oh, we skipped over it. Jack comes onto the bridge and he's holding a grenade.
Mm-hmm. Jack has done Princess Leia in Return of the Jedi with the thermal detonator and holding everyone hostage. Because he says, I'm going to... Doesn't matter. Yeah, she says, that's not going to blow everyone up. He says, it doesn't matter because as long as I'm blown up, then you have failed. That's the most important thing. So he holds himself hostage.
Yeah, and he gets the rest of the crew to go into the captain's quarters, I think, but Seven decides to stay back because she wants to face the consequences or whatever. And I didn't buy that moment, to be honest with you, but, it's good to have Seven in shot. Data and Jack have been coordinating somehow. I think Data is aware of what the plan is. He tells Jack no, and then Jack hits the... grenade.
Grenade, yeah.
And it creates a force field around himself and Seven. And I thought this was shocking to me because I didn't know they were going to kill off Vadic this soon. And Picard says no, and they open the emergency escape hatch on the bridge. Seven and Jack are safe inside the force field. Seven says, get off my bridge. And Vadic says,
fucking solids.
Did she say solids or fucking solid?
She said fucking solid. No, fucking
solid, man. Solid out.
Or I have a solid in my pants. But you know what?
Great death scene.
It was one of the few times where I've been okay with a swear word in the series. I was like, that's appropriate. If the bad guys are swearing, I don't actually mind it. If the good guys are swearing, I'm like going, don't be that. That's, wash your mouth out with soap.
You're always swearing. Are you the bad guy on the podcast?
Yeah, I am the bad guy. Fucking right I am. But you're right. It's a great death scene. And it's like horror. Just, it's an alien. It's not the alien queen. Oh, it is the alien queen or just the alien where she's been pulled out to the vacuum
They did
space.
it in Alien and Aliens, yeah.
And combined it with T2, the T-1000, where she starts to freeze over.
And Gravity, when Sandra Bullock kills off George Clooney.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That would probably be a better joke if everyone was more familiar with Gravity. But
I saw Gravity. I don't remember Gravity.
Yeah, George Clooney. There was that line that Tina Fey and Amy Poehler made when they hosted the Golden Globes, which was like...
Gravity is nominated for Best Film. It's the story of how George Clooney would rather float away into space and die than spend one more minute with a woman his own age.
Very good.
At the time, that was quite topical. Why do I remember that? It's all that useless crud in my brain that I don't need to hold on to. It's just in there.
I said it last episode. You have incredible recall for things that are more than a week in the past.
Thanks, John.
No problem, Patrick. And then the big boom, because Shaw is back in command of the ship, and they blow up the Shrike.
They're doing really well at the moment in handling a cast of about 12, 13.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
a lot of people to service in an episode,
and I think it's definitely balanced. You know, I feel they're doing a good job of managing everyone here. And what was good about this episode again? It feels like we've closed off a 3-episode cycle. You know, by defeating or killing Vadic. Now it's like, oh shit! Now we've the who's the next big bad guy? Obviously, the big bad guy is whoever the floaty talking head is.
Ghost Rider.
Yeah. What do you call him? The Ghost Rider or Ghost Rider?
Ghost Rider. You know,
the Marvel comic.
The motorcycle guy with the flaming skull.
Yeah. So, like, and again, these 3 episodes have kind of closed off this little mini arc.
Did you see that somebody said spoilers for the next episode on Twitter, and it was the face of the handler of Vadic, but it was actually Neelix's face was superimposed into it.
Oh,
like,
God.
Another DS9 member appears in the next episode. Spoiler alert.
Somehow I don't think Neelix is going to be anywhere in the show, or
Oh, I'm gutted.
Poor Neelix in his quirky kitchen. Ugh.
I will never forgive Janeway for bringing him back. She should have just she should have beamed him into the bulkhead.
He should have left with
Kes.
Yes, he should have left with Kes. They were a couple, an unlikely couple, but the two of them should have left at the same time. Poor Neelix.
But okay, we're heading into my biggest laugh of the episode.
Yes, same.
Was Troy comes onto the bridge and she gets really faint and she says there's an overwhelming darkness on board the ship, and we're thinking, why? Because we've just seen all of Vadic's people vanquished. They've blown up the Shrike and they're heading off with the fanfare music playing, but Deanna's like, no, there's something really wrong on board the ship. All the crew, for the first time in 20 years, a little longer, get around the conference table of the ready room, and it's lovely to see them there. And did you notice, and maybe it's just my eyes playing tricks on me, but the lighting on the ship brightened after Vadic was killed?
Oh, I didn't notice. My God, and I've been complaining about it so much.
No, so it's gone back to now almost like Nemesis lighting. So it was much brighter in the ready room with everybody around the ship.
Wow.
Or everybody around the table. And yeah, so Deanna and Crusher have a moment around the table after Crusher says that she has missed everybody and that she wishes that she had been able to stay in touch. I still don't get why she did that. I can get why you're keeping your distance from Picard, but everybody? It's a bit odd.
It's Jack, because anyway, if you tell one, they'll fucking... You know Deanna's going to tell everyone. She's just a real gossip. She tells Riker tells Picard. Yeah, it's just going to go everywhere. So...
I'm telling you. Deanna and Troy have that little moment, that little sort of like sisterly moment where they hold hands. And then Worf said, in his really driest delivery yet, that made me howl.
I have slaughtered countless enemies over the years and considered sending their heads to all of you. But I was advised that was passive-aggressive.
fucking laugh out fucking loud moment. It was brilliant. I actually will say my favourite moment of the series so far. It was just fucking hilarious.
But it's done so well with setup payoff, which is that the two women are just like being very touchy-feely.
Yeah.
And Worf thinks, actually, I have something to share as well, which is I've also thought about you. I've thought about sending the severed heads of my enemies to all of you as a gift.
And that's set up because we see that Worf has been on this kind of like meditation buzz. He's been in the Zen zone, and it's just brilliant stuff.
I love it.
And
it's
like
great
you,
to have them all back.
Like you, this moment with them around the table in the ready room, it was earned. We've gotten here. It's taken us 8 episodes, but my God, each of those characters have been on a little micro journey to get there. And it's not just pandering. Oh, look, here's these old cronies around the table again. It's not. This story has taken us on an adventure with them and rekindled the warm affection we had for those characters and the relationships they have with each other. And Christ, I was just radiating that glow. I was just loving it. I basked in it. I was smiling from ear to ear.
I was getting the fanny flutters watching it. It was great. No, but you remember I said to you at the start of this run of episodes, I said that Terry Matalas wanted to give the TNG crew their undiscovered country, their big send-off, because he felt that they didn't have it. And this was going to be that. It was going to feel like a 10-part feature film, and it was going to be a fitting send-off. And he's really, truly delivered. I doubt they're going to shit the bed on the next two.
No, we're there. This is good. I was genuinely worried yet because you sent me a message to say that I'm in floods of tears, and I was genuinely thinking, oh shit, something bad is going to happen right at the end of this episode.
No, that was just me editing the last episode. I was
like covering for my flubs, my fucking shit talk.
No, I said this has just been. I don't know. It sounds very touchy-feely, whatever, but I did grow up with this cast. I feel the affection for these the way some people feel for the original Star Wars cast. So when you had, my God, did they drop the ball on the sequel trilogy where you had no scenes of Luke, Leia, and Han back together, and Chewie and the guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why bring them back and separate them? Such a dumb move. So for me to have the core TNG cast back together and they're rallying around each other, it's what I said I wanted from when we did the Star Trek episode, and they've delivered it for me.
Yeah.
But Deanna says there's an ancient darkness within Jack, passing through him, around him, consuming him. It's not him, but it's something within him. And then she says, it's time I met your son. And she sits down and she's quite sort of like forceful in this, saying, look, there's something you've been avoiding and it's time to let it out. And do you see a door? And he's like, yes. And she's like, what's beyond the door? And he's like, I've never opened it because I'm terrified of what's on the other side. And he's quite emotional. And she's like, we'll do it together. And you cut to his vision, and it's himself and Troy standing in this corridor looking at this red door with the vines. And they walk towards it and he opens the door. And it's like, what are we going to see on the other side? But I love this. And I'm getting now why they said that Troy is vital to the ending of this run. And that people were complaining, like, where's Troy? What's going on with Troy? So they're bringing her in at a crucial moment. And again, it was great to have her and Data back as their old selves.
Yeah. And the right version of them. The right version of them. I have no notes. I've only got one minor, and it's not even a note, right? So in this episode, I have no notes, okay? The only thing that threw me off a teeny tiny little bit, it was this
Picard's bald head.
It's been throwing me off from day one.
1987.
I just wish, if we could retcon one thing, I just wish Picard wore a wig. And he'd been wearing a wig the entire time.
A mohawk.
Yeah. But the score, which is we've been commending throughout.
Okay, yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you. Whatever you're going to say.
There were moments in this episode where I went, Stranger Things? And I was like, hang on a second.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I was like, that's just the Stranger Things theme right there. And that's all I'm saying is that the score for me it was fine. It was fine. It just wasn't as good as the other episodes.
No, I wish they kept the guy that did the last episode score. I thought
this is different. I didn't even check the credit list. I didn't even see
this. Is the original guy's back now. So there was a filler guy stepped in last week.
Was he at a wedding or something, was it?
No, because the final two episodes are massive.
Okay.
That the composer needed time to be able to score those episodes.
Yeah.
So they brought in another guy. I mentioned his name on last week's episode, and I can't remember it right now. Apologies. But no, for me, the score just felt a little overplayed when Data hugged Lore.
Yes.
Or when Data popped back up. But that's episode 8, the end of Act 2. The next episode, I want to get your take on this. It's called Vox.
Oh.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, that's throwing me for a loop. Okay. Vox Pop. Vox.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fox Pop. Yeah, it's going to be like a bottle episode.
Lovely. Seriously, a genuine delight. A genuine delight. I am going to get on that series that you mentioned, which is on Amazon Prime. What's it called? The Center Seat. And just to be certain, that book that I'm recommending, there are 2 books, is called, because I have it right here someplace, make sure I have it right, is called The 50-Year Mission. Sorry, it's The 50-Year Mission.
That's what you said.
First. Okay, I thought it said First 50-Year Voyage. And written by Edward Gross and Mark A. Altman. So,
I'm going to get
definitely
on that.
Yeah, you will love it.
This was episode 8, Surrender. It's available to watch on Amazon Prime and on Paramount Plus. Next episode called Vox. The episode after that, the finale episode, is called The Last Generation. But one more to go. Good to talk to you, Will, and we're back next week.
Love it. See you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
And here is a clip from the lads' latest Mini Bits bonus show. The full episode, plus 80 more, are available on their Patreon.
See ya, Mossy. I gotta go in and record another one of these fucking Mini Bits.
Oh, yes, this is all it.
I know.
What are you doing?
Right now, on the Academy screener site, and I hit play, because there's only a few films on it for the first month or 2. There's only like about less than 10 films on it. And Guy Ritchie's The Covenant is on here. So I hit play on that, and I'm hearing we're out in Afghanistan, and I'm hearing all the dirt, and I hear vehicles, and I hear the sound effects of characters walking. But when characters open their mouths, I don't hear any dialogue.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they've
no dialogue.
They've uploaded the wrong audio track. It's like that Tom Cruise trailer where it was just the sound effects.
Have you met an SP?
Yeah, and this film has been up on the screener site for a few weeks now, and they still have the wrong one here. Well, I tell you what films are actually up there for all Academy members to see, and to see what they've put up there.
But first of all, let's just throw to our theme. And I have to say, the feedback from my thank you ballad was quite fierce.
The power of Christ compels you.
So I asked Mossy, who is a friend of my dad's at the quiz, sing us a theme tune.
Oh.
So over to Mossy.
Hit the cards. I'm fine, I'll get it done in one take. It's the Mini Bits. Or podcast, what will they say? With Will and Kevin Cock.
Their best fucking podcast.
That'll do.
That'll do.
My God.
Thank you, Mossy.
You would make an angel weep. That voice would make an angel weep.
Telling you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Boolabus.
It only cost us 2 months Patreon money, so, you know.
Is that all? Money well spent in my eyes.
Yeah. I mean, you can't get much for €20. Will, you were telling me before the intro that you were looking at stuff on the Academy Screeners website.
The Academy Awards. So for official members, yes. So they don't send out DVDs anymore. So how you do all your streaming stuff is all via the Academy website. And the streaming season has begun, which is exciting. So it means for the rest of the year...
Did it ever end?
It does end. It does. After the Academy Awards, there's about 2 weeks, and they take all the films down, and then they begin again at the end of August, and they all start coming up. So it's a whole new collection of hopefuls.
So how many films are on there?
Right now, about 10. Actually, 10 exactly. I can tell you the 10.
Oh, go on, tell me.
John Wick 4.
For the Oscars. Oh, because there's like...
Yes, they're adding in stunt category, aren't they?
Are they adding it in? Is the stunt category being added?
I believe they're adding in some sort of stunt category.
Breaking news straight from an Academy member's mouth.
Because they're adding in stunt category, aren't they?
Slash film.
I don't know. Did I read this in an article? I feel they were.
I
felt they were.
Have long overlooked stunts, and my God, it's pure artistry.
Yeah.
And it is incredibly, well, these days, it's all fucking rubber computer generated avatars.
That's why we should that's why these people should be getting their Oscars when
backdated.
Someone's actually gone out it. Yeah,
go back,
absolutely.
Go back and give it to
backdated.
your man from Mad Max who broke his legs.
Give it to Richard Farnsworth, who was a stuntman and starred in The Straight Story. Yeah, Richard Farnsworth was a career stuntman. Absolutely.
Wasn't that also the case with Machete? What's your man, Machete? Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo.
Is
Really?
it Trejo or Trejo?
I always call him Trejo. He just says, call me Danny.
I was going to say that back to you.
Nah.
I was like, just
weird.
Because we just call it.